so I know people are feeling the pinch. But you know what? Other things are suffering too, and I have to prioritize. Am I willing to sit here and vote in favor of an override that's gonna raise my taxes, what's the dollar amount gonna be? A couple $100 or something? Yeah, I think it's money well spent and it's necessary. You know, so I'll adjust my own household budget in order to do that. And I'm gonna be asked others to do the same thing. You know, but yeah, people are hurting and people are feeling it. There is a recession out there, believe it or not. The president doesn't want to admit it, and it's not gonna get better sooner. It's gonna get a little bit worse. You know, you've got all these adjustable rate mortgages, they're gonna be adjusting now. You're gonna have more adjusting going forward than you did previously. The impact was, it's gonna be even worse. The only good thing is the government bailed out Bear Stearns and sold them off at $2 a share. You know, so.
Okay, you too, Jeff?
Oh,
I think we need it.
Yeah, I think.
But whatever the budget is, our override budget, I mean, are you going to support it rather than stay in this room, room 14, and then leave the room and then not hear anybody else supporting it or fighting it? Many times it turns out that they have to have a top two and a half committee to do it, everyone's gonna run around and yell at each other and so on, and try to convince everybody to do it. But I'm asking what the selectmen are going to do, personally, one by one, in support of a budget that they've approved. Are they going to stand for it?
I certainly think we need it, and I will tell people we need it, okay? It was my choice, what I wanted to do was not to do an override this year, and I'll tell you why, as I've told other people why. I didn't want to do it because I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake to ask for something that won't happen. Now, will this happen? I hope it happens. We got 45% last time for it, and maybe there's enough people that'll go bring it over the top. But to ask for an override that won't happen is not good leadership on anybody's part. But I think we need it, and I will tell people we need it. We need the money, and here's why. And I'll explain to why we need it, and I'll tell them we need it. So if that's the answer to your question, that's the answer to your question, I guess.
Jeff, I'll answer it this way. The board has voted, even though there's some differences of opinion, as to what the override question should be. So there is a majority vote for that override question, and the numbers that are in it. And as chair, I will make a presentation on town meeting floor in support and explaining why that override is needed.
No. There's a difference, though. We voted to put it on. Voting to put it on is sometimes different than supporting.
Anybody who's ever spoken to me about politics knows that, as a rule, I hate government. But,
You're in a good spot, Mike.
but,
Except for us here, Michael.
well, sure. Well, I always tell people I didn't get in here to do things. I got in here to stop people from doing stupid things. But, no, but what I'll say is, I realize that I have to stay within the frameworks of things, and if anybody asks me why we need this, I will certainly explain it to them, and I will tell them why, because I certainly believe that this current year, in order to maintain what everybody's used to, we definitely need it. So, of course, I'll support it.
First of all, Jeff, thank you for your input, and I want to be very honest and fair with you. I will tell people what it's going to put back, what it's not going to put back. I will tell people why I did not vote for it, because I wanted to put the town government back that we were taking out tonight. For you to ask me how I'm going to vote on it, that's a very unfair question. I have the right to a secret vote and a secret ballot when I go in there.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
You didn't ask me.
Oh, I thought you asked me how I was going to vote and how I was going to support it.
No, if you were going to support it, if you were going to support it verbally, not how you were going to go in the voting booth. The voting booth is your own private scenario. What I'm asking, you publicly have supported the override.
I've supported putting the question on the ballot. I will tell people that I support what's there, but it should have included the treasurer's position, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what I will tell
And
people.
that's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine.
And that, yeah, I don't think there was enough put into the question, and that's what I will tell people.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Because I want to move on. I don't have all night here. Deanna.
Deanna Castro, 9 Bridleway. With all due respect to everything that's happened over the last couple of days. I just wanted to share a couple of observations and feelings that I know the majority of parents that I've spoken to and I've received emails from have to say, and then I need to, I wanted to submit something for the record. Last week, we went to the Board of Selectmen meeting with the understanding that was going to be a public hearing so that we would have an opportunity to say what we had to say and for you to be heard. I think a lot of people were very, very frustrated that what we actually saw was a presentation of town government department heads defending what was optimal for their departments. And I can assure you that the entire pyramid that the school department got to present last week is suboptimal, even if you funded every single bit of it. So we saw a display of department heads talking about what was optimal in their departments, and for the most part, they got to keep what was optimal for their departments. I don't think that we saw a display of leadership making very difficult decisions that should have been made last year to avoid the drastic and tragic cuts that were made disproportionately to the students in the town of North Reading, and we're going to see them happen again. So please don't misunderstand me. I am not being disrespectful. I am extremely grateful that you took the position you took to, fund the status quo gap, and that you took another step beyond that to fund the first portion of the pyramid. But while I am extremely grateful, as a parent, I had to wake up Thursday morning with the same reality that my 9 and 11-year-old, as well as 2,800 students in this community, will still not next year have restored programs, people, and services. They will not be going to school 5 days a week. My daughter in 6th grade will still be with 229 of her peers, sitting in 2 to 3 hours of study halls every week for an entire school year. What service have we done by doing taking the easy road? And again, I'm not disrespectful. I understand what you just had to do. But it's not tough enough. Those decisions weren't harsh enough. And I understand that it's not about us versus them. But I still have to have the reality that my children are in the same exact situation right now that they were last year. We have made quality education in North Reading an option for the voters. How can we do that? We are giving them an option to say no. 99 communities had failed overrides last year. Only 30% of the 152 attempts for overrides were successful. So my question is, given the realities of what it costs you today to fill your house and the realities of what it costs to buy bread and milk and to heat our homes and to put gas in our cars and everything else, the fiscal realities are not there for a successful override. So we have quality education in North Reading as an option again. And I can't wake up tomorrow and the next day and look my kids in the face and feel like I did my job. And I have to ask the question, do you feel like you did yours? Education is a community concern. Everyone in the community, because when education has quality and succeeds and our kids succeed, this community succeeds. I, for one, do not see North Reading succeeding next year. Communities and people know that we're in trouble. What did we do to turn that around? We are still suboptimal, even if we funded the entire pyramid for the education system. So I ask you, what's the fallback if we're not successful as a community rallying around this override? What's the fallback? Is it going to be okay September 5th for our kids to have half-day Wednesdays? It's not okay with me. And I can't imagine it's okay for the majority of the people in this community. Is that really what North Reading stands for? That status quo is going to be our new standard? I don't think so. So I will ask you, have we done enough? all rest, can we go to sleep tonight or on May 7th, knowing that we did enough? And just in case there's any opportunities for you to reconsider your position, at any number of meetings that we've attended, and parents have tried to come out and educate themselves on the issues and be part of the process and part of the solution. We've heard about an awful lot of revenue and efficiency sources that are possibilities where money could become available. I would just respectfully ask the Board of Selectmen if you would consider some of the answers to some of these questions that we still think are very viable and realistic opportunities where monies could come back to the school department to get as far as we can go into priority number 2. There's a list here of things that range anywhere from things like going from 4 to a single voting booth. We've heard that discussion. We've never gotten an answer. We heard the other night that there are churches being plowed by the DPW with no money being asked for. The vocational assessment, Mr. Town Administrator, perhaps could come in less. The health insurance we've talked about, for every 1% that comes down, there's $47,000 in savings. We've talked about SPED being a separate line item and on the town budget as opposed to on the school budget. There are technology efficiencies that Mr. O'Leary has brought up. There's potential savings with increases in co-pays. Civilian dispatch has come up before for police and fire. Contracting out ambulance services. We have tried to have a list of all the things that we have listened to but really have never gotten answers to. Ads on police cars and DPW trucks. People said that they're willing to hear that, but we've never gotten the answers. How much money, how much revenue is available? And wouldn't it be possible, if we got the answers, to maybe fund priority 2 and put our kids back to school? All I'm asking is for you to please, between now and town meeting, when I'm certainly going to stand up and ask these questions in front of hopefully hundreds and hundreds of people, will we have the answers and perhaps be able to answer the question? If we don't have a successful override, is there some other monies available by just looking and exploring and exploiting every possible dollar that's available? It's disheartening to me, Mr. Administrator, for you just in the last 5 minutes to come before the board and ask for $35,000 more, and the Finance Committee somehow conveniently found $35,000 by taking from different departments. That's all we asked you to do for our children. You just demonstrated that it can be done, even in the 11th hour. That's all we want, is to carefully consider every dollar that can be exploited and counted for, so that we can fund at least priority 2. Please do your best to put our kids back to school, where they belong, and keep them safe. Can I just give you copies of this?
Sure.
Okay, before we move on, is there anyone else that has public input? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
Mr. Perkins. Sorry.
Well, I would like to thank Ms. Castro. She's very eloquently stated, I think, my position. And I just wanted to add a couple of things, and that is that I agree with Mr. O'Leary that the economy is in very bad shape, and that I think is going to be reflected in any vote for an override. Many people feel that the community, when it gets a 2.5% increase every year, that should be sufficient to carry on and to do the job that needs to be done to run both the city and the town and the school. I know that in business, very few companies can expect an increase in their sales profits by 2.5%. They do not have the convenience of going to their customers and saying, you're going to get a 2.5%